there's all sorts of ways that you can get started with AI content, start implementing it as a service and selling it to clients. But I think that starting at the foundational stuff of just being like, what does this look like in your team? What does it look like for your offering? And how can you start to structure that to then start offering it as a service?
I think the opinion that I have, and I think you share it from our previous discussion, is that you should focus, and like you just mentioned, we should focus on the results. It's about the end result and what the client gets, and what that means for their site, etc. That's what matters. I think I wouldn't make the fact that it's AI powered front and center. I certainly wouldn't change that on my website. But if someone wants to dive deeply into the process of, how are you doing this, like I'll tell them that's fine, but I'll explain why that's better as well.
Agency Uncensored. Agency Uncensored. With Harper and Joyce. Agency Uncensored.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Agency Uncensored. I'm Joyce.
I'm Ben Harper.
And today we're going to be talking about everything that you need to know or do in order to start implementing AI into your agency. And I'm talking about it from the perspective of selling it as a service. Now, a little bit of background about Ben and myself. We both ran agencies in the past. We both currently work in AI, and we work with a ton of different agencies to help them not only grow with AI content, but to understand this brand new technology that's just burst out into the scene. And so we want to impart all of that knowledge to you. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Ben, what would be the kind of SOP or formula that you think you'd kind of have in your agency if you're going to start selling it as a service?
That's a good question. I guess it depends exactly what you're going to use AI for. Let's assume you're going to sell AI content. That's what we know best. So that's easy. I think there's a few things before you get to the SOP exactly, but in terms of the steps that need to be taken and the things you need to think about, I would say the first being, these might be discussion points we want to go through actually, but the first one would be, and I know we've talked about this separately as well, like how transparent do you want to be about using AI? Like how much are you going to position in that way? How much are you going to tell your clients about that? What you're going to talk about? I would think about how that impacts my team and what my team structure needs to be. Like, say I'm a content agency and I've got 30 writers, do I actually need 5 editors and 1 writer? Do I need to get the same team and upskill them and do more? Like, you think about what's going to happen there, and you think about the cultural shift in how that's going to change your kind of agency dynamic, probably. And then you need to think about things like what the deliverable is, what the pricing becomes, all that sort of stuff. So there's loads of steps in there that might be worth us just going through in terms of how we define that. Maybe that's how we go.
Yeah, I think that would probably be best. Obviously people are going to be at different places.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be like social media agencies, or it's like, SEO agencies. Maybe they're not doing content. Maybe there's optimizing websites, or maybe there's web designers. And there's all sorts of ways that you can get started with AI content and start implementing it as a service and selling it to clients. But I think that starting at the foundational stuff of just being like, what does this look like in your team? What does it look like for your offering? And how can you start to structure that to then start offering it as a service? Maybe should we do like a test phase with some clients and see how they like it? So let's go through those conversations.
Yeah.
So let's start off team structure. Mm-hmm. Before you even get started with AI, you need to understand what resources you have and what resources you might need when implementing AI. So first off, you're going to need a tool, no matter what. You need to decide what it is that you want to offer. So if you're a social media agency, you want to offer content that's like SEO, blog content, then you need to pick out a tool. We're going to be biased. We're going to tell you Brandwell just because it is literally the best tool out there. It's designed by SEOs for people that understand SEO. And we love our tool, and we put a ton of passion and effort into it, and it works phenomenally. You can see all the case studies, but I'm not going to turn this into a sales pitch. But you need to pick what you're going to be offering. Yep. And then from there, you need to judge the output. And then you need to understand how much, if you were to start implementing this, how many clients would you be able to service with this? What does the workload look like for your individual employees? And I think that you should have discussions with your employees and start to understand what they think of the tool, because I think that's also important.
Yeah, I'd say it is, and we've seen it with clients of ours here. Like when they often get their content editor or the content writer to test Brandwell, and sometimes they'll not be totally honest because they don't want to lose their job. So I think it's a case of like setting the scene in the right way first as well, to say like, hey, we're not looking to replace you. We're looking to make you more efficient, make you rank better, like free you up to do other stuff. We're not just looking to, replace you with a robot. So as long as they go in knowing that, then they hopefully can give a fair opinion and a fair assessment of what they see. But yeah, I think getting the team involved, doing a test phase with a client, or even on your own site is a good way of doing it. And just seeing like, does this give the output I want? Does this deliver the end result that I want? So it might be that the content looks great, but it doesn't rank in Google, or you need to make sure that all the bases are covered. And then, like you say, like how long does it take? What's kind of the process around that? So like with Bramwell, we've got it so it's effectively like 3 clicks of a button and you're good. But it depends what you do. Like, and you might be a video agency and you're using video tools, and then there's more editing involved. It really depends on what that process looks like, and that's what you need to figure out. So I know here we've got it down from, I think we've had about 150 writers or something, haven't we, in total? And we're down to now, we've got one copywriter who writes our email sequences and things, and we've got one person who edits all our blogs and runs our keyword strategy for our site, and they put out 50 blogs a month, something like that, at least.
Yeah, it's close to about 100 pieces
about 100
per
now.
month. Yeah.
Okay, and that's with one person.
Yeah, it's with one person.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So it really depends on like how far you want to push it as well, right? And that we obviously can do that because we've got ultimate trust in the tool because it's our tool. Yeah. But other people obviously will scale in a slower way to get to that point. But
we have an internal joke here at the office. It's like we're gonna go start our own agency just because like we kick ourselves in the butt that we designed and created such a tool that like it makes it so easy to run an agency and provide and deliver a deliverable to a client all with one tool that does basically everything for you. So it's like it's never been easier to run an agency. But one of the things that makes it like so easy is the actual platform that you choose itself. And so when you have your employee look over it, make sure that you do so with like, hey, what are the pitfalls of this?
Yep.
And just be aware of those before anything.
Yeah, what doesn't this give you that you need or that you had before? Where does this make you take more time?
Right.
All those sorts of things. Where might this fall down? Like stress test it as well. Like throw everything you can at it and see if it breaks. Try and break it ultimately and see what happens.
Right. And also, you should also be aware that when you're when you're getting into this side of the industry, that you shouldn't be stiff with how you go into it. If you're thinking you're like, oh, I know everything, I know SEO, I know all this stuff, I have this process, like you're still delivering, taking client briefs and stuff like that. It's like, no, all that's out the window. Now AI understands entire content briefs. You don't need to do any of that. It'll take in all the best content. It'll generate the best content that serves, wait, let me back up and say this correctly. That solves the search intent for that keyword, that satisfies Google's EAT, and allows you to have a piece of content that ranks.
Yep.
If you're dealing with clients that are giving you briefs, that's a no. Like you talk to them, it's like, hey, we deliver results. We're not here for you to tell us like what to do. And you have to be a little bit firm with clients because I think that a client's going to hire you to deliver that result. And if they don't trust you to deliver that result, then there's a problem in the communication. And there's a problem. That's a problem that you need to address. You need to talk to them and be like, hey, what's the hang up here? What is it that you need to see from me? And if it is just like, hey, we just need like to prove that like the content ranks, show them an example. If you don't have any of that, create some test sites, start ranking content, start showing it works, or just use testimonials from the tool that you're using.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that kind of mindset piece is really important in terms of like you can't go in thinking you know it all. You need to be firm with the client, and then also you need to accept that things are going to change because AI is moving so crazily fast.
Right.
Like we launch stuff all the time, and I'm sure everyone else does too. So in case of if you might nail your process down with this tool, and you've got it, and you've trained your team on it, but in 3 months' time it might change because there's been a major leap in the technology, and actually it does something totally different now, and that happens too. So you need to just be flexible with thinking about that as well. I would say it's really important.
So, what are your thoughts on transparency? I know we covered this in a previous episode, but it's kind of like iterate it again here, just in case you're a brand new listener.
Yeah.
Make sure that they understand too.
Yeah.
Should you say that you're creating content with AI?
I think the opinion that I have, and I think you share it from our previous discussion, is that you should focus, and like you just mentioned, we should focus on the results. It's about the end result and what the client gets and what that means for their site and etc. That's what matters. I think I wouldn't make the fact that it's AI powered front and center. I certainly wouldn't change that on my website. But if someone wants to dive deeply into the process of how are you doing this, like I'll tell them that's fine, but I'll explain why that's better as well, and kind of say we're doing it this way because it's faster, we get better results because it satisfies the search intent and all the bits you just mentioned as well because it's calling Google at the same time. And here's why we do that, to speed up our process, to make it better for you.
Right.
So I would tell them if they asked, but I wouldn't be screaming from the rooftops about it because it doesn't matter. It's about the results.
Right.
And it's like that's not even a new debate. I was talking about it on one of my YouTube videos earlier in terms of how that used to be the debate with offshoring. Everyone's offshored their content to India and the Philippines and wherever for years and years and years, and that's always been the debate. Like, do I tell people that? And generally, people don't because there's a stigma attached to it, and it's the same thing ultimately.
Yeah.
It's about the results.
Yeah. And a lot of those sites don't put that, that they use VAs.
No one tells you that.
And I think that even I've definitely worked with companies where I've asked if they use VAs before because it mattered, and they were just like, no, we don't. And then you come to find out.
They do.
But it is good to be transparent. To say like, yes, we use AI, but that everything that we do is to a certain degree of professionalism, and we make sure that we deliver a result. What do you think about like guarantees?
Like guaranteeing a result.
Right.
Yeah, don't like it. But I we would guarantee deliverable. So would say things like, hey, like we'll guarantee we'll write you 10 posts in the month. So you know what you're going to get like output wise. Really hard to guarantee results. And it's normally a red flag if someone's like, I guarantee you'll be on the first page of Google within 2 days and all that sort of stuff, right? You see it all the time. You still see it now, unbelievably. You can't guarantee anything, especially on like the SEO side, because we might have the best SEO strategy in the world. We might create 100 like perfect blog posts, but that doesn't mean that 300 other companies aren't going to do the exact same thing, and therefore you're in the same place. You don't know. It's not a 1 versus 1 scenario, so you can't guarantee results, I would say.
Yeah, it's impossible for you to control the client too.
Yeah,
because if you're only doing the content, right? That doesn't mean that you're controlling the site speed. You're not doing any on-page optimization, database structure, all that kind of stuff. All the stuff behind the scenes you're not in charge of could be issues that hold up rankings.
I'm not controlling their brand. I'm not controlling their CEO. He might come and say something horrific, and then everyone hates them. You just don't know. Like,
right. Well, that might get them more traffic.
Well, it might. It might not be the right traffic. Yeah,
not the right traffic. But definitely, I would agree. Do not guarantee anything, but guarantee your deliverable. Hey, we're going to deliver this on time. Whether that's be directly uploaded to their WordPress site, whatever it may be.
Yep.
But definitely just say like, we're going to give you this date.
Yeah, it's always better to underpromise and overdeliver than the other way around. So I think that's the best way to look at it.
Right.
Because that's where you get in trouble if you overpromise and then fail.
What about if I have employees that are apprehensive about AI? I think that's part of the discussion too. Is like if you want to start offering AI services inside of your agency, there will be pushback. They're like, well, they're going to take my job. A lot of
not as good as me, and
all those types of questions. So let's start from the very basic of let's talk about job displacement and how employees should look at that, and also how founders or agency owners should look at that.
Yeah, I think from a founder level, like you've got to do what's right for your business. Your responsibility as the shareholder and director of a business is to make that business as profitable as possible for yourself and your shareholders, and that's ultimately your responsibility, right? At the end of the day, so that's why you need to experiment. You need to find out if it's going to work. But that's not to say you need to be a complete savage and just fire everyone. I think you need to be really transparent and really open and work with people in the best way. Employees are like naturally going to be really apprehensive about AI if it's the first time they're experiencing it, and especially in an agency where you're selling people's hours and this is doing that for seconds. So it's totally natural. I think it's a case of laying out what you want to achieve, really. So say, like, our plan is we're actually doing this so it's more efficient so that you guys can be reskilled or upskilled into something slightly different around this. Like maybe they're doing more of the editing or more of the strategy or more of the account management around it, communicating with the client why we've created this post. But just the AI is doing the like hard work of creating the post for them. I think that's kind of the way I would look at it. I think some job losses in some agencies are inevitable because of this. That's unfortunate, but probably can't be helped. But I think it's a case of if you do it in the right way, with their buy-in, with the chance of upskilling and like moving into slightly adjacent roles that are softer skill based that a robot can't do right now. That's probably the positive way of doing it. But they are going to be apprehensive, so you need to kind of communicate it and lay a strategy out for it fairly early on, I would say. Otherwise, people will just start worrying, and then productivity falls off the cliff.
Yeah. Those employees that you have that are apprehensive about using AI will most likely be out of a job anyways. That's my opinion. I think that if you're too slow to adapt in business in general, you're going to run into issues. And we've even seen it here when it comes to like how quickly AI can take one person and give them an insane output. We've seen, like we just mentioned earlier in the episode, where we have one person literally taking on 100 blog posts, which is insane. And all that in a month. So I think that the scale here can be massive, but you need to have the right people that are excited about this, that understand that they need to adapt and they need to learn
Yeah.
how to use the AI tool. Doesn't mean that all the jobs are going to be completely gone. Maybe in the future that happens.
Yeah.
But right now, what matters is that you get people that are willing to adapt, willing to learn, and want to push the maximum, because that's literally what's going to take you from a tiny agency to a massive agency, being able to outpace all the other agencies, whether you're a regional agency, a local agency, or you're trying to go international, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That scale and that the transparency and the ability to just not be overloaded with work when you acquire new clients is huge.
And it's a good test of an employee as well in many ways, right? Like if they're completely resistant to it for no real good reason other than protecting themselves, that's probably saying they're not got the best interests of the company at heart,
Right.
which is kind of a flag as well.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to find out what people are really about.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had Julia actually had a call. Somebody, Julia McCoy, she's the president of Brandwell, and she had a call today actually with somebody where she was talking about, she was giving a demo of our software, and the person responded with, "This is amazing to me because I don't have to worry about being," did he say
overwhelmed by the content, or what word did he use? I can't
It
remember.
was he didn't have to be concerned of like taking on too many clients and not being able to deliver. I think the AI is one of those things that labels you to, like, doesn't matter how many clients you onboard. If you go hire one person and they can put out 100 blog posts, like that's you're
scale
going
is
to be
coming.
fine.
Yeah, scale is there.
Yeah, your scale. Yeah, no problem at all. You're going to be fine. So I think that's an amazing part of this when it comes to empowering teammates and be like, hey, look, you're only like doing like 3 to 4 a month right now.
Yeah.
Like imagine doing 100.
Yeah.
And over time, your employees will start to gain confidence in using AI tools. They'll see the output for themselves, and a lot of those questions and the apprehensiveness, a lot of those questions and those apprehensiveness will disappear and dissipate over time. But they need to get accustomed to it, and so getting their feedback, understanding how they're using the tools, getting the proper education, and empowering them to be agile with AI is super important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and some of it will be a generational thing, some of it will be a mindset thing, but finding those right people that want to adapt. Like, I think we're pretty good at it here. Like, it's part of the culture here very much, isn't it, in terms of if you're willing to innovate and take accountability and try and push things forward regardless of yourself effectively. Like, it's about like your job is to automate yourself effectively, isn't it? And it's you don't find that many places, which is cool.
Right. And perfect. I think it's a perfect place to leave that. And in this next episode, you won't see me because I'll be automated.
Yeah, Robot Jeff's coming.
I'm just kidding. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye, everybody.